Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, the Dominica Association of Teachers about to elect a new executive for the next 2 years. President Savrin calls for an upgrade in nursing homes as the world focused on older people on Thursday. And Rosie Douglas remembered 20 years after his sudden death while in office. The details coming up.
We are strong, we are resilient, and we will get through this together. But these are stressful times, and it's important to also practice good self-care. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or afraid, but there is hope. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, stay in touch with your community, and know that you are not alone. We're in this together. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
One of the sons of the late Prime Minister Rosie Douglas has been reflecting on his father's legacy 20 years after he died in office as Prime Minister of Dominica. The Dominica Labour Party came to power under the leadership of Rosie Douglas in 2000. Rosie died suddenly at age 58, 8 months after being sworn in as Prime Minister. His son Tiani Behanzin spoke with host of Q95's Hot Seat Matt Peltier on the anniversary of his father's death. Behanzin told Matt Peltier he does not believe his father has been given the recognition he deserves.
There's 2 ways of answering that one, and I would say you can say no straight away. 2, you can say that Rosie was one of those personalities that most people would find difficult to rise above. So the survival of probably this regime may have been necessary for them to have charted a new course, because it would have been difficult for them to have been held on the standard of Rosie or to follow everything Rosie had done. And I think that, a new Prime Minister is in, that those prime ministers we had 2 since his death, who would have attempted to define their own course, and because of that, they would have had difficulty trying to mirror Rosie. I mean, a lot of what he said over the years have come to pass. The issue with Cuba, some of the issues in South Africa, and those things, all those things have come to pass. So he was definitely a visionary. Most people in the region, in this region, little politics, don't really define anything international and those things. It's regional. So he was a different person, a different kind of personality. So I think it was challenging. Now, out of respect, yes, they probably ought to have, never forgot who one of the stalwarts that brought them to power and those things. But at the same time, you can probably measure it and say, well, maybe they were trying to chart their own course. But a lot of what Rosie said, especially things like the links with the African Americans to recognize perhaps a birthday of people like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and those people would cause and encourage African Americans to come to visit not just Dominica but the region. Things like the development bank that he spoke about, using Libyan funding to place that bank as an alternative to IMF and other institutions that seek not to assist us in our liberation. So those things are still valid, and that they could still be embraced. The relationship with the French as a means of arriving or taking a course through the European Union for economic to benefit our farmers and goods that could make its way through the European economic system. All those things are still valid. So yes, we may not have to deal with the issue of the Rosie as a personality, but a lot of the substance of what he said, which was in the interest of the country's development in the long term, went beyond his years, because he's been gone for 20 years now. I always say it's a quiet execution of him.
A quiet execution. Expounded that for me.
I've always believed he was killed, and I've always tried to outline he was killed. I myself actions have been taken against me, which I believe were specific to bring my life to an end. So I had those things, but I mean, my point is that we need to look at some of what he espoused and try to see what could benefit us now. It's not the same situation 20 years. A lot of the politics have changed, a lot of the geopolitical forces have changed, and therefore we must continue to adapt. But a lot of some of his substantial contributions still remain to be put in place. And I think that if it's a party that took power as a result of his efforts and the efforts of Mike Douglas and all the efforts of the previous operative of the Labour Party, we should try our best to implement some of them for the benefit of the country.
Rosie Douglas was succeeded by the late Prime Minister Churchills, who died in 2004 while in office. A call for nursing homes to be better equipped to take care of the country's elderly. Andrea Louis tells us more.
This is among the sentiments expressed by President of Dominica, His Excellency Charles Savre, during an address to the nation in observance of International Day of Older Persons on Thursday. According to information from the international community, the elderly population is increasing significantly and steps must be taken to protect this vulnerable population.
The experts have postulated that developing countries like ours will see the greatest and most rapid rise in the older persons population, thus making population aging one of the most significant social transformations of the 21st century. It is therefore critical that nursing homes and health and social care workers are adequately supported and encouraged to deliver the types of services that will ensure that older persons are provided with the care they need and are treated with utmost respect and dignity.
International Day of Older Persons 2020 is being recognized under the theme, Pandemics, Do They Change How We Address Age and Aging? This year, 2020, also pays homage to healthcare providers and ties in with care given to the elderly population.
This year is being recognized as the Year of the Nurse and Midwife. And this dictates a synergy best espoused in the United Nations publication that International Day of Older Persons 2020 will highlight the role of the healthcare providers in contributing to the health of older persons, with special recognition of the nursing profession and a primary focus on the vital role of women in society. In the same vein, special homage must be paid to all the frontline operatives globally.
Dominicans are being urged to safely stay in touch with elderly people while observing the restrictions brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic.
During this period, our elders continue to have needs. We are to ensure that those needs continue to be met, including access to accurate information on how to stay physically and mentally healthy during the pandemic and what to do if they should fall ill. Additionally, finding ways to stay socially connected is even more important for the elderly, as many do not have easy access to digital platforms. Physical distancing is not social isolation.
A new executive to lead the DAT for the next 2 years to be elected on Friday. The election forms part of the World Teachers' Day event being organized by the Dominica Association of Teachers DAT. Public Relations Officer of the DAT, Juanita Carbon, says Friday's function will also recognize several long-standing teachers who have contributed towards Dominica's education sector.
The day's activities will commence with registration from 8:30 a.m. and will include recognition of over 20 educators who have given many years of dedicated service to education in Dominica, presentation of certificates to teachers who participated in and completed the virtual IT for Dominica program, a panel discussion based on the theme, and the business segment to include the secretariat and financial reports and the election of officers. The election, which was constituted to be held in April earlier this year at our biennial convention, was postponed due to COVID-19.
There will also be addresses from various officials to the DAT membership.
Addresses will come from Honorable Octavia Alfred, Minister for Education, Human Resource Planning, vocational training and national excellence, and also Mr. Mervyn Alexander, President of the DAT. All teachers, especially members of DAT, are asked to be present and on time. Protocols established by the Ministry of Health will be in effect.
The theme for Friday's event is Teachers Leading in Crisis, Reimagining the Future. Dominica has reiterated its call for the removal of the United States embargo on Cuba. When addressing the 75th session of the UN General Assembly earlier this week, Minister for Foreign Affairs Dr. Kenneth Darrow described the Cuban medical advancements as exemplary and called for a greater recognition of the country.
Dominica extends congratulations to the Republic of Cuba on the nomination of the Henry Reeve International Contingent of Doctors specializing in major diseases and epidemics for the Nobel Peace Prize. This is a fitting recognition of the sterling work that Cuba has done in providing support across the world to countries confronting pandemics and natural disasters. The Cuban Medical Brigade has been an exemplar of health diplomacy and genuine internationalism and a true embodiment of the term being our brother's keeper, and we sincerely hope that the world is taking note.
Owing to Cuba's impact on the global community, Dr. Darrow reiterated the call for a change in policy on the Cuban blockade.
It is in light of this that we reiterate our call to end this 60-year-long unfair and unjustifiable blockade against the Cuban government and people. And despite being substantially disadvantaged by this blockade, Cuba continues to reach out to support others. And if this crisis has shown us nothing else, it must have shown us how vulnerable we all are and how life as we know it can change in an instant, and therefore call and will continue to call for a change of policy on this matter.
And with the world racing to come up with a vaccine for COVID-19, some say adverse reactions to these vaccines and the lack of information about cases in vaccine trials could lead to increased vaccine hesitancy, in that people won't take them once they are available. The World Health Organization addressed the issue of the efficacy and safety of vaccines during its regular press briefing this week.
I think it's very important in the stage we're in, where we have 10 candidates, vaccine candidates at phase 3. It's very, very important to highlight that there's no cutting corners at this stage. When you go to phase 3, you need to finalize phase 3, and then you need to be assessed by a regulatory authority before the product comes into the market. So it's just that these times we are living now, these results come publicly more easily. So because it's very common that trials are stopped for a while, and any suspect adverse events are identified or are investigated properly. So what we are seeing right now is the fact that there is a lot of scrutiny and there's a lot of responsibility from the companies in the case of AstraZeneca to act responsibly and stop the trial, do the necessary investigation, and then the trial was assessed by the different national regulatory authorities in the countries where it's been, because it's a multi-country study, and it's gone back to finalize phase 3. And I'm saying this because it's at the time we're in, it's extremely important to say that we are not cutting corners, either on efficacy or related to safety.
Meantime, the World Health Organization announced Monday it had reached an agreement with its partners to make 120 million COVID-19 rapid tests available to low and middle income countries.
Following the WHO policy guidance on antigen RDTs on the 11th of September, we now have 2 high-quality tests, which are the first in a series that are being developed and assessed by WHO for emergency use listing. These tests provide reliable results in just 15 minutes rather than hours or days, and will enable expansion of testing, particularly in countries that do not have extensive laboratory capacity or trained health workers to implement molecular or PCR-based tests. So these antigen rapid diagnostic tests are a critical complement to these molecular and lab-based tools. Second, volume guarantees. Agreements have been signed between the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and two rapid diagnostic tests producers, Abbott and SD Biosensor, to make 120 million tests available at $5 for low-middle income countries over a period of 6 months. A $50 million procurement fund is the third component of the package, and that will enable to rapidly scale up these tests. The Global Fund has committed to an initial $50 million from its COVID-19 response mechanism to enable countries to procure at least 10 million tests.
The tests are believed to provide reliable results in approximately 15 to 30 minutes rather than hours or days at a lower price with less sophisticated equipment. You're watching Channel 5 News. We'll have more after this.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD, all for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
We are strong, we are resilient, and we will get through this together. But these are stressful times, and it's important to also practice good self-care. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or afraid, but there is hope. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, stay in touch with your community, and know that you are not alone. We're in this together. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
The first ever Dominica Entrepreneurship and Innovation Hub set to get underway on Sunday. Andrea Louis has that story.
The Office of the Prime Minister, Ministry of Trade, Organization of American States, and the DAIC have partnered to host this week-long workshop. This event will provide entrepreneurs with the knowledge and support to manage and run profitable and resilient business enterprises. Executive Director of the DAIC, Lizra Fabian, says the hub will see speakers from a wide cross-section of fields addressing local entrepreneurs.
So the first phase of this Entrepreneurship Hub will consist of a one-week foundational program to be held from October 4th to 9th at the Jungle Bay Eco Resorts in Soufriere for 33 young entrepreneurs in Dominica. The program will feature presentations and practical sessions from mentors and experts who will address fundamental concepts of business development, innovation, resilience, digital transformation, and technology.
Following the week-long workshop, participants will continue to receive support and mentorship through targeted sessions to further develop their business interests.
The Entrepreneurship and Innovation Hub will be supported by contributions from all partners, and as was mentioned, these partners include the Office of the Prime Minister, the Ministry of Trade, Commerce, Entrepreneurship, Innovation, Business and Export Development, the Organization of American States, and the Dominica Association of Industry and Commerce. The partnership will seek to capture key benefits for building the capacity of local businesses to drive economic activity, and it will also include content and resources that address important components of entrepreneurial education, as well as innovation for business development and continued growth towards digital transformation and resilience.
An appeal to tour and taxi operators here to follow COVID-19 protocols as the sustainability of their livelihood depends on keeping Dominica COVID-free. One COVID-certified taxi operator says being COVID-19 certified can mean the difference between success or failure for one's business.
Sometimes we are picking up people whom we know from a long time and we haven't seen them for a long time, and in their enthusiasm, they may want to come and give you a hug. We have to refrain from that. We have to be firm, we have to be polite, but we have to be firm. And I want to say to my colleagues out there, because of a situation I witnessed recently, it is so important and crucial to do this training so that you can become COVID-19 certified. I recently witnessed a bus going into the airport to drop off passengers, but because the bus was not COVID-19 certified, it was not allowed to enter the airport. So it was quite an embarrassment that the people had to walk inside of the airport because the bus couldn't drive inside. So I would like to advise my colleagues who are doing transportation to the airport, do find out how you can do the training so that you can become COVID-19 certified and you won't have to have that sort of embarrassment, because they will not allow you to enter the airport with a public vehicle if it is not COVID-19 certified. So those are just a few things that I wanted to share with you. And these are really crucial and difficult times for us, so we need to be prepared.
And strong words from Senior Minister Reginald Austri as he encourages Dominicans to do their part to protect the country's reputation and the Citizenship by Investment program. The minister is concerned that bad press about Dominica can negatively impact the country's economic development. The Citizenship by Investment program is largely responsible for funding government's housing revolution. Critics of the government have often focused on the sale of Dominican passports under the CBI program, but Austri says they are missing the point.
I can give you 15 passports, and after a month you don't have sold one passport, because the secret is not in the sale of passports. The secret is in convincing people that they can have a second citizenship. They can have a second home. That is how it is done. And our prime ministers have to leave this country and travel overseas and go to all the capitals trying to gain and to create new citizens for Dominica. Because people are buying passport. They don't want to buy your passport. They want to buy citizenship in the Commonwealth of Dominica. And that is why we have an obligation to keep our country safe. That is why we have an obligation to fight back against those who want to destroy our country. We have to wage war against those who want to make this country appear in the eyes of the world as a rogue country. They want to stop the flow of investment. They want to stop the housing revolution. They want to stop the healthcare program. They want to stop the education program that we have.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Strong, we are resilient, and we will get through this together. But these are stressful times, and it's important to also practice good self-care. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or afraid, but there is hope. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, stay in touch with your community, and know that you are not alone. We're in this together. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD, all for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
To end the news, a look again at the headlines. The Dominica Association of Teachers about to elect a new executive for the next 2 years. President Savre calls for an upgrade in nursing homes as the world focused on older people on Thursday. And Rosie Douglas remembered 20 years after his sudden death while in office. You may access the news on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.